Hi everyone. I want you to meet Dr. Sanat Phatak. He is my colleague. He is my senior in both MD medicine and we did our DM together. He's an immunologist from Pune. So, hi Sanat, welcome to the stream.
Immunologist. What does that mean, Sanat?
I deal with diseases of the immune system, which sounds very unfortunate, but we'll come to that.
You mean you have cure for COVID and you're not telling anyone? Is that what you're saying?
No, I've decided I'm not going to say that word.
All right.
I'll call it you know what or something like that.
The disease we won't mention.
Yeah, we won't mention that.
All right, fantastic.
Correct. Tanmay, basically in this world, immunologists are nowadays called कि आजकल तो तुम लोग का टाइम चल रहा है नहीं तुम्हारा स्कोप बहुत स्कोप है इम्यूनोलॉजी में
Absolutely.
While drinking vitamin C
immunity बढ़ाओ
immunity बढ़ाओ.
All right, welcome to the stream, guys. Siri, why don't you introduce us to what we're going to talk about today?
So the topic officially is neuroscience of memory, but what we are actually going to talk about is memory itself. And I would like to sort of open up the idea of how memory is a lot more than just neuroscience. So that is going to be the path that we'll be taking, and let's explore it as we go.
All right, awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
What is the connection between immunology and memory, if I may ask so, Dr. Phatak?
Yes. Oh, that sounds very grand, but okay. So the immune system and the nervous system are the only two systems in the body which can remember. And the nervous system remembers experiences. The immune system remembers infections. And in a different way than, it doesn't remember infections like, do remember when I had the dengue in 2017, I was almost dead, that kind of thing. That's still neurological memory. But the immune system remembers it separately. As we know that it remembers it because next time that particular infection comes, then
it knows how
your
to fight.
Response is shorter. Jaldi se, you're getting rid of it. So obviously it's learned from the first infection and it's remembered that particular infection. So that's quite fascinating that these are the two systems which have memory and nothing else seems to have it.
Got it.
So what I would like to do is just talk to you a little bit about why do we have memory? So when you have a lot to remember, obviously you are trying to remember things every day. So in your, forget about all neuroscience, forget about immunology, just in your everyday life, याद क्यों रखते हो? क्या होता है? याद अगर नहीं रहा तो क्या होगा? Like Kanis is obviously very sleepy now. She will not remember a lot of things now.
Hey, Kanis,
but her immune system will remember.
Norepinephrine in your brain.
Oh, wonderful! Wow. I'm so impressed.
Increase your awareness and attention, Baba. You need some any.
Norepinephrine, very nice.
Norepinephrine. Kanis, you're very soft, Janu.
Oh, am I soft?
Yeah, you're soft. Yeah. Okay, now you're better. The question Sidi asked was, what happens if we don't remember? What will happen if we don't remember? It'll be tough to function as memory is required for a day-to-day activity. If we don't remember, I think it will be a problem at an evolutionary level. If you don't remember, how will you?
We'll just keep making the same mistakes over and over. Like we keep getting fire and getting.
Yeah. Exactly. So like once bitten, twice shy. जो phrase है, that is memory.
Correct.
And like a cat who's drunk hot milk will not go near milk. That whole thing.
Correct.
It is all memory.
Correct.
Now in your everyday, so I think Kumar was going to say something.
No, I was just asking one line to Sanat sir. That is it fair to say that the concept of vaccination and antibodies are part of the memory of immune system?
Yes, absolutely.
I just want to confirm that. Yeah, when we're talking about memory of immune system, we're talking about
we'll touch upon that. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So that is a very important point, and that is what I meant by how we are going to talk about memory not just as a neuroscience topic, but how it is so much more. So in every sense, अगर हमारे पास memory नहीं है, तो how to connect one thing to another, how to connect one day to the next, how to connect one moment to the next. आपको याद है पिछले मोमेंट में क्या हुआ था, इसलिए आपको अगला मोमेंट पता है कि इट इज डिफरेंट. बट अगर मेमोरी नहीं है, then everything will be just here and now. तो लोग बोलते हैं you should live in the moment, but अगर memory नहीं है तो you will be living in the moment. You have no option.
Sid, can
So
you
that
put
is
the
why.
mic a little further away from you, please?
Oh, sure. So sorry.
No, all good.
Was it echoing or something?
Yeah, it was getting distorted because of
Okay.
how close it was. Yeah.
Right. So that is sort of the overall concept. Now, if you allow, we can go a little bit deeper and talk about what is memory. Like होता क्या है? मतलब in the brain and when we are learning, होता क्या है memory? Is that okay? Can we go into it?
Yes, let's do it. Sidi, I need to allow you to share screen, right? I've done that.
Yes, please do that.
I did that.
Okay, awesome. So the most important thing to remember when we are talking about memory is that in your everyday life as a human being, you are continuously surrounded by inputs. So if this is you and this is the environment, your whole life, so right from the time you are born till you die, basically, continuously you and the environment are interacting with each other, correct? Continuously. So there are things that you see, things you touch, things you smell. ये सब कुछ हमारे साथ interact करते रहता है. And all of these things go into your brain. And that is how you become aware of it. अगर ये सब कुछ बंद हो गया, so then for you the environment doesn't exist anymore. Correct? So that is what, like, a part of what coma is. So agar sab kuch cut ho gaya, then you are not able to feel anything. Now, what happens, the reason I'm saying this is because one of the most important part of memory is input. Agar kuch andar hi nahi gaya, to yaad kya rakhoge tum? So that is why I thought that I could start off from here when we are talking about memory, and let's talk of the brain once more. Let me just quickly introduce you to the same parts, and I hope you all remember. Okay, does somebody want to go? I'm going to ask Kanis because I just want to make sure that she's
Kanis, wake up, Kannu. Wake up.
Frontal cortex.
Let's-
PFC.
All right. Okay. Kanis, what is this? What is the orange one? You'll get extra points if you name the orange one.
Frontal cortex.
No.
That's the middle part is the temporal lobe. Is that
Yeah.
This is temporal.
this is temporal? That's occipital,
Wonderful. Okay. This is occipital. And this
then
is
that's
parietal.
parietal.
This is
And this is
parietal
frontal.
lobe, in case.
Yes. And this is the blue is the PFC, the frontal lobe part. Okay. And why is this important? Why am I talking about it here today? Is because all these things that come to you, the things you see, the things you hear, the things you smell, all these things actually end up in different places in the brain. So while for you, reality is just one smooth, single, uninterrupted thing, but in your brain, the things you see are here. The things you hear are here. The things you touch are here. And the things you smell are here. Get it? So that everything is going into separate places, and then they all get put together to form reality.
Correct.
If that makes sense.
Yes.
And
Yes.
yeah. And the part of the brain that splits all this available information, जो भी अंदर आता है उसको सब split करके सबको अलग अलग जगह पे जो भेजती है, that part of the brain is called as thalamus. When we have spoken about thalamus before, the thalamus is like a traffic cop. तो जो भी अंदर आता है, the things you see, the things you touch, all of those things get sent to the relevant places. उसका
the-
correct center पे जाना है. Yeah.
Thalamus is the Greek god of separation.
Yes, sure. That's one way to remember it. I just think of it as a traffic cop.
Got it.
So the thalamus is just standing there at the door. कि चलो हाँ तुम you are the site, okay, you go here. सुनने वाले सब यहाँ पे चले जाओ. So the thalamus will separate everybody and send them to the right centers. अगर गलत जगह पे पहुंच गया तो समझ में नहीं आएगा क्या हो रहा है. And once all of those things get understood properly, all of them get sent to the frontal lobe. And this is where we reach part 1 of our memory, which is called as short-term memory, or also called as working memory.
वरुण तू नोट्स ले रहा है क्या?
नहीं सॉरी मैं मैनेजर को रिप्लाई कर रहा था.
Oh, अच्छा. Oh, मेरे को लगा.
I think Abish is the one who takes notes.
Yeah, I was shocked for a second, saying, "Oh my God, Varun is taking notes. How nice."
No.
Short-term memory. Got it. Okay. So yeah, the frontal lobe is it's the same example, right? It's the plate example when you're holding many things on a
Exactly.
plate. Yeah.
Can you just tell me what was that? What I had said about the plate?
Because when you're holding a plate full of different food items, right? There's fruits and there's other meat and
lot of
whatnot.
things. Yeah.
You got to balance that plate, right? It's a lot of things.
Correct.
So what the frontal lobe does is it balances everything. It takes input from everything in order to achieve like a short term this thing. A bad example is picking up this glass of coffee, right? Isn't that?
Yeah.
I mean, kind of, yeah, in a way. So assume that if you want to have a meal and there is a buffet, you don't want to keep going to the buffet. You want to take everything in one plate and go and sit in a corner.
Correct.
And that plate is your working memory, the things that you need then and there.
Correct. This happens in our computer also, right? Like our computer has there is
the RAM.
The RAM, which is what you need to, which is what is used when you're doing stuff right now.
Correct.
And there's long-term memory, which is the hard disk. Right?
The hard disk.
Yeah.
Correct. And usme bhi like you can do like HDD, SDD ka difference. So the more evolved you are, the more SDD you go. But
SSD.
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 So
Correct.
solid state drive. Correct. So then short-term memory or working memory is
RAM.
RAM.
Is RAM.
Correct. Now,
Jai Shri Ram.
yeah,
guys.
tell me. That is so you're when you say that somebody has presence of mind, when somebody you say ki, how can you multitask so well, how can you do so many things at once? That is because your PFC is working well. You are able to juggle multiple things. You are able to switch from one task to another. You don't get distracted. You're not still thinking of the earlier task when you're doing the next one, because you're able to switch from one thing to another very smoothly. So the better PFC you have, the more you can multitask. Kind of.
Correct.
And that is a function of short-term memory. कि तुम कितना चीजें एक साथ याद रख सकते हो. Yeah.
So jugglers and all should just have a giant ass frontal lobe, right? Just a swollen lobe.
In improv, I feel like we really develop this sort of memory. In an improv scene, we have to remember so many things, like so much information all at once, and juggle all of it continuously. I think improv really trains this part of your brain.
That's a very good analogy. I mean, more than juggling. So juggling is more of muscle memory. So I mean, juggling doesn't need to. Yeah, exactly. You don't need to remember, but improv for sure, because somebody would have said something half an hour ago, and you would have to incorporate that into the story after half an hour. That will require you to have a lot of presence of mind, that you have to keep on remembering things.
Yeah.
And that is definitely frontal lobe working memory. So Kaniz and Abhish, when they do improv, that is what you are actually doing. You're using your plate is full basically.
Yeah.
Now, this is not enough though, because inevitably what happens with this plate concept is that after the dinner, it will get washed away and everything will go. So there is a like an upper limit to how many things can you put on your working table. कितना रखोगे? ज़्यादा रख दिया तो कचरा होएगा, and then you will get nothing done. So what you need is, apart from a good working station, you also need a good back storage area. कि वहाँ पे you can put everything. So in the brain, if your frontal lobe is where your working memory happens, there is a place right at the back called as the hippocampus. Very cool. It's so easy now to teach this class. So the hippocampus is and that is in the temporal lobe.
Correct.
And the way that information flows from the frontal to the hippocampus is via the thalamus again. So basically the thalamus is involved in both ways. Information को भेजता भी है, information को वापस भी लेता है, और information को hippocampus में भेजता है. And one of the cool things about the hippocampus is that, so if you look at it from behind, like if you look at it from the back of the head, like if you take a cut section like this, although you shouldn't, but suppose you cut the brain like this, you will see the hippocampus looking something like this. And this looks a little bit like a seahorse. and hippocampus is actually Latin for seahorse.
Oh.
So then the first time they did that, they did what they call autopsy, and they saw that, okay, this area is resembling a seahorse. They said, okay, let's just call it seahorse.
Oh,
They had very little problems in naming things exactly the way they said.
What does thalamus mean in Latin?
I'm not sure actually. I need to check. But I'm sure it has a Latin name.
Yeah.
I'll check and I'll put it in the comments.
Yeah.
Because that's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
So maybe it's Latin for traffic cop. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So this is where your long-term memory gets stored. And one thing we'll talk about whenever we talk of sleep and dreams is that one of the main theories of when does this happen? When does this short-term memory get converted to long-term? The theory is that this happens in sleep. So if you're not sleeping properly, you will remember everything in that one day, and then बाद में एक एक करके निकल जाएगा.
Sorry, Sid. Yeah. So sleep helps short-term memory become long-term memory.
Yeah.
Which is ironic because when you sleep a lot, you're not doing much to remember. Anyway,
Yeah,
so sorry, you had also mentioned last time that an added layer of stress helps turn short-term learning into long-term learning.
Correct.
Can you remind us quickly about that?
So the idea is that when you want this, यहाँ पे जो conversion होता है in the hippocampus, ये जो hippocampus के अंदर जो memories बनती है, उस समय you need a certain, so there is a hormone called as cortisol, and there are certain proteins that you need to be formed when memories are getting consolidated. So when memories are getting imprinted, like पक्का होता है. तो उस समय अगर थोड़ा stress रहता है, so then that memory formation is better. This is one of the theories.
Cortisol helps memory formation.
Too much is bad, too little is bad. So it's very dicey, but it's just like that flow concept that we spoke about. You need to find your right amount of stress. So what is different for one person, like it's different for everyone.
Yeah. Cortisol का PR बहुत खराब है. Cortisol सुनते ही लोग ऐसा अरे बहुत खराब है ऐसा वगैरह बोलते. But yeah.
So the interesting thing is how when you're trying to remember things that happen to you, you are remembering the big things. Like मुझे ये बस पकड़ना है, मुझे ये ट्रेन पकड़ना है, I have to be careful about this particular person, all these things. What about the really small things? So what about the extremely tiny things that you need to remember, like which bacteria and which virus to be careful about?
Sorry, just 1 second. Kani's thalamus means chamber in Greek. Ashi from chat has just told us, which makes
lovely.
sense, right? It makes sense.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Correct.
Sorry, Siri, go on.
So
and hippos means a horse, and campos means a sea monster. And that's how you combine hippos and campos together. It becomes hippocampus, which denotes a seahorse. Yeah.
How lovely.
Telling
that's the general knowledge.
KB was
Amazing.
bursting. Like ये trivia मेरे अंदर से निकलने वाला है.
No, when Sitzer speaks, like it's so, you feel so bad to interrupt him because you're like, it has to be legit, something worth, like disturbing his momentum.
Oh God.
कि मैं disturb करके I can't go like short term memory loss से ना सिद्धार्थ मुझे वो गजनी का villain याद I will feel like slapping myself कि बहन तू क्या अच्छा चीज को तू flow करके क्या गजनिया बात बोल.
Hilarious.
नहीं ये सब सुपर चैट में चल जाएगा लेकिन it's okay.
चलो आगे बढ़ते.
So what I was saying was about how ये सब जो न्यूरोलॉजी में जो भी मेमोरी हम रखते हैं, जो भी हम याद रखते हैं, those are kind of like the big things, the big events. Like this is my birthday and who are my parents and who are my friends, who am I, all those things. The small things, the things that enter into your skin, the things that you eat, हमारे पेट में क्या हो रहा है, हमारे lungs में क्या हो रहा है, all the things that you're breathing, the things that you can't see, they are also interacting with you, but and just as we remember people, places and faces and events, just like that, it is equally important or more important that we remember those small things also. And that is where the immune system comes in. Because बड़े चीजें याद रखेंगे और छोटी चीजें अगर भूल गए, so then you will get screwed by the small things. So both of them are equally important, and that is how we go into the immune system. And the concept is just the same कि याद रखना पड़ेगा नहीं तो आगे जाके प्रॉब्लम हो जाए.